Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we got a good one for you today. We actually had a question on one of our other videos. Somebody asked us how I made a pop-up form that we were showing the other day. Really easy to do. I've got a little button in my footer here. If I click on it, it's going to pop up a little contact form. And because it's in my global footer here, this is going to appear on every single page. And I do this on quite a lot of clients' sites and they seem to love it. It's a space saver, the form's not there all the time. And it's a nice little interactive element to add to your site. Now you can do this without a plugin and without actually having to write any code, because Elegant Themes have actually provided it all for us. And I'll take you through it. Really easy to do, fantastic feature. So let's get started. I'm going to enable my Visual Builder. And if we roll down to the bottom here, you can see under my footer, I've created a contact form here, purely because if I do it on the footer, it's going to appear on every single page on the site. And this button is what's going to trigger it. But you don't have to do this, and you can have multiple pop-ups on a page. And I'll show you exactly how to do that. So let's get started. Let's go up. I'll actually add one to this page rather than to my global footer there. Decide where we want to put it. Let's go below this section right here perhaps. I'm going to create a new section. Little blue button to add a new section here. I'm going to make it a regular section. And this is just for my button. So I'm going to throw a single column in there. Funnily enough, I'm going to use a button module, but you can actually use any module you like because we're using a class name to pop up the form or whatever it is you want to pop up. So you can do it from an image, a blurb, whatever you want. I'm going to use a button because it makes it more obvious for people. And let's just say contact us. Or whatever form you're building. That's great. I'm not going to put a link in this button. Let's perhaps throw it in the middle. And we'll just make it slightly more interesting. I'm going to go into the button. Let's make it like our ones above, perhaps same color. So button text, I'm going to turn white. It'll disappear into that background there. Let's make that background blue. We'll perhaps give it a hover color by rolling over the dark writing, hitting the little arrow, 2 tabs. Desktop, it can stay blue. When they put their mouse on it, let's have it turn orange. Perfect. Well, that's all I'm going to do for my button at the moment. We're just going to leave it there. Now what I'm going to do is create a new section, and this is going to contain whatever it is we want to pop up, whether it's a form, an image, or whatever you happen to want to pop up. But it can't be in the same section as the button. So let's create a new section. A little blue button to add a new section. I'm going to use a regular section. Again, for mine, you can make it as complex as you want. I'm going to use a simple one. I'm going to pop in a contact form. And I'm going to keep this as easy as possible. Obviously build your form how you like. We've got lots of videos on how to build forms with Divi. I'll give it a title. And let's just capitalize that. I'm just clicking on the little blue button for the title there. It takes us straight to the design element for that. And I want to pop that in the middle. Fantastic. And we've got our little capture there and a submit button. Again, let's just make that button a little bit more interesting over in design. There's the button. We'll do a similar thing. Custom styles. Writing white. Background blue. And we'll make the border blue too. And I'm going to leave it just like that. Great, so let's save that. I'm going to give my section a background because it's the whole section here that's actually going to pop up. So let's go into the section. I'm going to go into background. I'm going to go down to color there. I'm going to make it black. If you want a little bit of your website to show through, just pull the opacity slider down a little bit and you'll see some of your website bleeding through when this pops up. Obviously need to change that. I think I'll change that title anyway because it's the same as our other form, because you want to be able to see which of these forms is popping up. So let's save that. I'll just change this title and make it white again. I'm just going to say CF2 for contact form 2, and let's make it white in color, or a lighter color so you can actually see it. Great. We'll save that now. Okay, we've got the form that we want to pop up, and we've got the button that we want to pop it up with. How are we going to make it happen? Well, as I mentioned earlier, not many people seem to know about this, or Elegant Themes doesn't seem to advertise it very much, but they've got some script that they've written on their site here, and I'll put this URL down below, opening Divi modules in a lightbox, that you can just add to your site to make it work. If you go to this page, if we roll about halfway down, we've got some CSS. You want to copy that from the body, B, to that closing curly bracket at the bottom there. Make sure that you get all of it. Control C to copy. And let's go back to our site. What we need to do now we've copied that CSS, is go down to our dashboard, down to Divi, to theme options. Under the general tab, if we roll down to the bottom here, we've got a custom CSS panel. Now I've already got mine in here, obviously, because my lightbox is working. You won't have yours in there yet. So let's just delete this and I'll pretend that it's not in there. I'll leave that little title in there. I always like to title my CSS, makes it easier to find. So go to your custom CSS box, put your cursor in there. If there's something in there, you can just scoot it down, or you can put this on the bottom if you prefer. Control V to paste, and we'll paste that in there. And I'll take you through a little bit of this later on, just so you can change some items if you need to. Very easy to do. Now once you've pasted it in there, really important, you need to go down, hit the little Save Changes button till you get a green check mark like that. Fantastic. Now if we go back to this Elegant Themes page here, just below this bit of CSS, if I roll down a little bit more, we've got some JavaScript. And again, we need to copy from that first script tag, the closing script tag. Again, make sure you get all of it. Don't miss out any of those little pointy brackets or anything, or it will not work. Control C to copy once more. Go back to our site now. We're still under the general tab here, under the theme options. If we now go over to our integrations tab over here, you'll find a little box that says add the code to the head of your blog. Again, I've got mine in there. Let's pretend I haven't. I'll take it out. Usually it'll be empty unless you've got Google tracking or something in there. Just put your cursor in there, and again, Control V to paste. And again, make sure you save your changes at the top here. Great. Well, we've got everything in place now to make this happen. And if we look back up here, all we need to do is make this form pop up from the bottom is use a couple of CSS classes. And I recommend you read this page. It's a good read. I'm taking you through it very quickly for anybody that wants to do this very quickly. We need to give our button a class name of ETLB, what's Elegant Themes Lightbox BTN1, button 1. And you can have multiple pop-ups on your site or page if you like by just incrementing that one. Now I've already got a pop-up in my footer there that's called ETLB button 1, so I'm going to copy it. I'm going to change that 1 to a 2. We'll go back here. This is for the button. Go back to our page here. Going to go into the button. Advanced. CSS IDs and classes. Make sure you put it in the class name, not the ID. It won't work. I'm going to paste that in there. But as I said, I've already got a button down here that you saw earlier. That's already got that class of button 1. So our new button, I'm going to give it a class of button 2. Fantastic. Let's go back up. We'll save that. And if we go back over here, it tells us the content we want to pop up, which is that whole section up there. We need to give the class of ET, Elegant Themes Lightbox Content 1. I'm going to copy that. And again, my first content form down at the bottom's got that 1 on the end, so I can just change this to a 2. And as I mentioned earlier, you can have as many as you want on a page. So here's our section we want to pop up. I'm going to go in there. Again, over to Advanced, CSS IDs and Classes. Again, make sure you put it in the class, not the ID. I paste it in there. And this number needs to correspond to the button number that we want to pop it up with. which was 2. Fantastic. So if we've done everything correctly, this should now work for us. Let's save our changes. I'll save the page changes down here. I'm going to make sure that it works on the front end. We'll exit the Visual Builder. Now let's roll down. We'll find our little button down there. There it is. When I click on it, watch what happens. Our little contact form is going to pop up. They can fill it out, send it off, hit the little X to get out of there. And as I say, our other one, it doesn't have to be a form, it can be anything you want. It's still going to work because we've got a different number for that one. Remember, this one says reach out today. And I've taken the opacity down a little bit on this one on the background, so you've got a hint of the site behind. So like I say, you can have as many or as few as you want on this page, and it's a really useful feature. You can get some great things going with this code without loading any plugins into your site. Now, one other thing I'll just mention is on tablet and mobile, this will probably work fine. Let's just hit my F12 key, see what it looks like. Yeah, that's actually going to fit fine on mobile. But if you've got a lot of content in your pop-up section, you might want to make it scrollable so they can scroll on it. To do that, let's go back into our section now. I'll get rid of my inspector. I'll just re-enable this Visual Builder. And if I go down to my little contact form here, let's add a bit more content below so it's a little bit longer. I'm going to add a new row. I'll just throw something in from the library perhaps. Let's throw that little gallery in there. Okay, this is a lot bigger now, so we'll need to make it scroll. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into the section itself. I'm going to give it a fixed height. If you go into design and sizing, here's the height. I'm going to make mine 100 viewable height, 100 VH, which will make it 100% of the screen size of any device it's on. So I'm going to say 100 VH. Now if we go to our advanced, I'm going to go down to visibility and to overflow. Overflow is anything that sticks out of that 100%. So if this content stacks on mobile and becomes very long, that would be overflow from our 100% viewable height because it's going to be longer than that. So I'm going to change the vertical overflow from default to scroll. And that'll add a little scroller on the side of it. Let's save that now and see what we've got. We'll exit the Visual Builder. Let's pop down to that button again. Pop it up. And it's got that little gallery underneath. Again, it works fine on desktop at the moment. Let's have a look on mobile. And now we're able to scroll down this little pop-up just like a regular page. The page behind it, I'm just using my mouse wheel. We've got the contact form at the top and all those little gallery items underneath. So if you've got a lot of content in your section, you will need to do this. Otherwise, they'll just have this top part and won't be able to scroll down there. And that's all there is to it. You can make all kinds of beautiful pop-ups with this code. And I've got loads of demos out there on my simple CSS. But it is a kind of Divi hidden feature that not many people seem to use, but it's so useful. One more thing before I go. If you've created your pop-up and you're using a light background rather than dark one, you're going to have trouble seeing that X up there. I've got a dark background so it shows up beautifully. If you want to change the color of your closing X or the position of it, let's go back to our CSS, which was in our theme options under the general tab in our custom CSS panel down here. If we roll down a bit, they've kindly put a little note there, color of the closing icon. You can change it to whatever color you want. Let's just put in blue for an example. You can use web colors, you can use RGBAs or hex, whatever you like to use there. I'll put that in there. And to actually change the position of it, if you want it further up or further down, we've got right and margin top. To bring it further up or make it higher on the page, just give it a higher negative pixel value. To move it left and right, you can adjust the viewable width value right there. So I've just changed this to blue. Make sure you save your changes. If we go back to the page now, I'm just going to refresh. Let's try it now. You'll notice we've got a blue button up there. So you can change the color of this depending on whatever your background's doing to suit it. So there we have it, guys. There's how to create a very easy pop-up form with no plugin using the Divi theme. Great little feature. Not many people seem to know about it. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget, if you have any questions, pop them down below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you or make a little demo video just like this one. So once again, this has been Jamie with System 22 and webdesignertechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.